So Shock just won out over the Houston Outlaws 3-1. And those guys got to be feeling really good going into next week because they got a couple of additions coming to their lineup. Any Sinatra fans in the house? Tyler is super pumped for that. All right, so on to our last match of the night. We got the Dallas Fuel going up against the Philadelphia Fusion. Now, Dallas, they have a chance to play spoiler tonight because the Fusion, they're actually still in playoff contention and they need to win every map. You guys always hear me say it. Every map matters, and that's really coming into play tonight. So, Blizzard Arena, make some noise. It is our final match of the week.
You heard Malik say it. This is the final match of the week. Get hype, boys and girls, because we're jumping into it right now. I'm your host, Puckett. We got the full desk. We got Brand reinforced Zoe once again. And now we're going to get a chance to see Philadelphia. Once again, we're coming to the end of a stage. They got a chance of making it into the playoffs. Zoe, you're just joining us back here on the desk. Unfortunately, you were, unlike Brent, did not go with the Shock here. You're 1 for 1 on the day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I always believed in the Shock. I had not a single second of doubt.
Same.
That they can.
No, listen. You keep flip-flopping. It's suddenly my whole spiel is going to be over.
Brennan
I'm going to be out of a job. So.
All right. Do you have more of these?
You
I need more of these clovers.
What?
Things. Yeah.
It's a beautifully drawn clover on his face.
It's actually not a sticker.
All right,
not a sticker.
Let's jump into this one, guys. Philly going up against Dallas, and this one has some big playoff implications. As we take a look at this one, Philly not only looking for a victory here, they want the 4-0 map count today.
They need it today, to be honest. The playoff implications are huge across the board, right? You know, far-reaching. You ever heard of the butterfly effect? You know, you go back in time and you murder a butterfly, and suddenly you're like, you just something weird stuff's happening.
Wow.
That's like this game with this with
I think
playoffs.
you explained it perfectly.
Exactly. That's like this with playoffs, right? So Philly need to win 4-0. If they do that, they have opportunity. They have a chance. These are the next matches today.
And
So
that
they're playing
game versus the Gladiators as well is going to be absolutely huge because both of them are arguably the ones contending with our current top 3 teams, London, Seoul, and New York, of course.
Top 3.
Exactly. So if you beat the Gladiators, there's a good chance you can make the playoffs.
Valiant has had their ups and downs as well. If you can take out the purple LA team, probably can take out the green one as well. Let's talk about the other side of things, though, because we have this Dallas Fuel squad that has had some issues recently. Their main tank, well, we don't know who is it going to be moving forward. OGE is going to be picked up for stage 3. Right now, it's looking like Taimu, but the real question for me is the DPS, Johnny, because this is where the squad, this is where they staffed up. They bring in AKM, they bring in Rascal, you still got Effect, you still have Seagull on the lineup, you could even run Taimu. What do you want to see from the team today? Have they been running the right guys?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I would like to see some quad DPS action. That would be pretty fun, right? But at the same time, I think we have to go.
Have you ever heard of quad DPS working?
Yeah,
in any scenario.
In my ranked games.
Yeah.
So I would like to see Rascal play today, actually, because I think that usually in the past, we've seen Envious, we've seen Dallas play the sort of passive Soldier 76 style, because it suits them a lot better. Formerly, they play a lot with Coco, a passive tank, but now they're playing with Taimu, they have to play with SQC, they have OGE coming in, of course, for stage 3, and all aggressive tanks, like to be getting up in front. So I'd like to see Rascal play, because his Genji is so good compared to AKM. We have seen AKM on the Genji just for a few minutes, but nothing spectacular to watch, to be honest, so I'd much prefer to see Rascal go head-to-head with the opponent.
I mean, at this point, Dallas, they're out of the playoff contention for stage 2, so today they're just looking for a win in that overall 40-match group that we're going to have across the whole regular season. For Philly, this is a big one. Let's talk about their prep coming in. How are they feeling going on up against the Dallas Fuel today?
Well, you know, if you're looking at their schedule from this week, they're going to be super happy because they actually managed to approach both their games this week on a game-to-game basis. They didn't have back-to-back matches like they had last week, where also their boombox, not everyone's boombox, fell ill. I don't know where this one was going. But boombox fell ill right before the game. Dayfly had to step in. They had back-to-back matches, not much time to prepare, and really tough opponents too. But this week, they on Wednesday faced off against the Shanghai Dragons, so they had time to prepare for that match. And now they had 2 days to prepare for this match, and that makes a world of difference in this league.
Absolutely. You look at Philly's numbers so far, they only have 3 losses in stage 2. It's to London, it's to New York, it's to Seoul. Can they get another big win over one of our Western squads? We're about to find out now. Are you guys ready? Make some noise, LA. It's time. We got Philly going up against Dallas.
Dallas needs every moment they can get.
It's crunch time for the Philadelphia Fusion. This is a commanding performance of the Dallas Fuel.
Get out, Philadelphia Fusion say.
And it's a party now!
And Mickey just blows him up. I love the aggressive play from the Fuel.
Philly with a dominant performance here.
Let's bring out our first team. It's the Dallas Fuel. You saw it on Twitter. The GM said I've handed over the reins. Excuse me, the owner said I've handed over the reins. He's given it purely to the GM, to the coach. Today, we're going to see a new lineup from the squad. I see Chips in there. I see Cuss in there. That means Harry's on the bench.
And we're seeing Rascal in the lineup as well. Yes, absolutely. So this would be a fantastic matchup. They said they gave Kai all control of the team, of course, and now we're seeing Rascal in the lineup. Very excited to see how this addition works out, especially in combination with Effect. We're going into Hanamura. We might see Genji and Soldier 76. Rascal being a versatile player.
Effect looked like he was just having another day in the office then, didn't he? He settled down into his desk. He got his glasses on, very elegant. Looked like he was about to type up a couple of Word documents. But right now, Dallas are looking pretty stacked. We're finally getting to see Rascal be on his starting side right now, seeing what he's made of, you know, ready. You can settle down your pitchforks. We're finally allowing Rascal to be
The fans are ready.
The fans are definitely ready. You can hear them in the background.
I'm pumped to watch Rascal. He's always been one of my favorites. Coming in here, what do we expect to see from the tanks today?
Go ahead. Anyone at all. Jump in with the tank play. Come on, time it on the Winston.
As of late, we've seen a lot of different things, but that's also due to who they had available, so they were forced into different compositions. So we saw that Roadhog Diva kind of style. I don't really think that's what we're going to see today, though.
All right, is it Winston? Is it Hog? Let's see what Taimu is playing today. That's a look at the Dallas Fuel starting lineup. It's time to find out who will be on the other side of the stage as we bring out the Philadelphia Fusion. 10-7 overall across their 17 matches, but most importantly, they're 4-3 in stage 2. They're still in the playoff hunt, but it's not going to be easy. They got to finish strong, and they're looking for a 4-0 today.
I love it. Everything I just saw is just everything I wanted, and I just didn't know I do. Either way, they're coming prepared, as you can clearly tell. They had a rough run in week 3, back-to-back matches. Again, Boombox was ill. However, they still managed to make all their games fairly close, which was, when I talked to them, both disappointing for them and also kind of uplifting. They said they knew that it could have been different under different circumstances, so they could have had better performances, but it was reassuring to know that they know they can stack up pretty well against the best teams in the league.
I want to see some Poke Bombs today.
I mean, he's feeling it, isn't he? You know, when EQO was walking out there with a little tiny green hat on, I thought he was balancing a glass of water on his head. I was like, that's super impressive.
That's
like,
a Brent thing to think. I like that.
It's like, why is he walking out with a glass of water? But no, it was just a tiny little hat. And I got a little bit disappointed.
It's St. Patty's Day, Brent. It makes sense. All right, let's take a look at the DPS duo, though, because you'll notice no Carpe. Snillo is back in the starting lineup.
Yes, and it makes you wonder, right? Because let's be honest, Carpe is one of the best DPS in the league, of course. Do you want to give Snillo some stage experience, perhaps moving forward, or is it just a disrespect pick?
I think Snillo's pretty good. Like, you can merit putting him in anyway. The guy is phenomenal.
All right, I know we had fans fly all the way from Israel to watch the Dallas Fuel. Can they kick this one off with the win? We'll find out now. Mr. X and Uber are on the mic.
All right, Johnny, just because Snillo was on the World Cup team and you weren't, bro, all right? Let's just chill a little bit here, all right? We cool, all right?
I'm excited to watch him play.
Although, yeah, I think Carpe Tunnel is the thing, so it's good to have another Tracer on your side to bring him in if you need him in the mix. Yeah. We saw a little bit from Snillo already. Definitely wasn't disappointing. We'll see how he fits into this roster. We know when he's time in a team like 1, 2, 3, which is before the Overwatch League of Contenders, he was very solid.
Yeah, no, he's always put up pretty good performances whenever we've seen him on the stage, whether, it's back at Contenders, World Cup, whatnot. So expecting good things out of Snillo coming into this match. So you see the maps for today. on the side of Dallas Fuel, you have Rascal in the lineup. I know a lot of fans are excited about that. You get Custa and Chips in here for Hanamura. You get a pretty good Zen Ana combination with those two. Expect Rascal to play some Genji as well. So Dallas Fuel, I think, going in the right direction. Working around the pieces that they currently have here, waiting for OGE to come when he can potentially take over that main tank duty from Timon.
Yeah, I mean, very much a revolving door is the Dallas Fuel lineup at the moment. But again, there are options. You know, there were times in last stage where with players being sick and such, it was kind of hard to sort of have that full range of hero selection here. But they still have a lot to choose from. The Fuel.
It's like in a way, it's almost like in a pro sports, right, where a team just kind of spends their season like injury prone, right? They can never like get to full strength. I feel like that's kind of how the Dallas Fuel spent their go thus far.
Yeah.
Things don't really work out. With Coco as main tank, then you have XQC in, he looks good, but then we know how it happens there. And then Taimu comes in, now he has to play main tank. You have some other additions to the roster, you're trying to work those players in. So I don't think it's, look, I mean, they haven't been good, right? But I don't know if we've seen them really get a good shot at a fair chance of being great.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We haven't seen peak Fuel quite yet. The Philadelphia Fusion as well haven't had the most stellar of stages. There are a couple of games that were probably hoping to maybe win out on it and sort of didn't. They definitely, came out of the gates very strong back in stage 1, and obviously were a contender for getting into those playoff games. So here's where they really start to sort of try and pad out that score a little bit more.
Yep.
Look strong for a late stage push at playoffs, if possible.
Well, look, EQO has been very good throughout stage 1. You've gotten good play from their supports. I think Neptuno has been one of the better main supports in the league, and I think, their tank duo, very consistent game in and game out. It'll be the Dallas Fuel. Gonna run a dive comp here. Gonna get to see Rascal on that Genji, which he's so well known for as effect. Touches the point, just trying to force some players off.
Yeah, no one's really giving him any attention yet. Snillo now has gone back to deal with him, and that pulls effect sort of out into the middle of the field. Meanwhile, Rascal, again, this is the standard deck Genji approach. You wait till there's an opportunity to get a kill. In the meantime, you charge up your Dragon Blade. That's probably a little bit more of a lethal direction to go in. Neptuno's down early, so time you start off the fight with a dive, he does find a kill. Poco quickly, in an attempt to peel, does get the 1-for-1 trade.
You just need Mickey to be there with Taimu when he's going to push in like that, as Dallas Fuel still making some progress here on the point. Rascal building up towards that Dragon Blade, going to get D-Mech onto Poco, so that's a big one. Now, you do have Effecto who falls at the hands of Fraggy. You need an Effect to stay up there. That extra damage is so big.
Rascal doesn't need to do anything else right now, Matt. Just stay alive, stay safe, use those reflex if required. Slow and steady is going to win the race here. And the Dallas Fuel have been able to shift the Philadelphia Fusion off of this first point now, but it's time for the Dragon Blade. We know what EQO can do with these. The Transcendence, though, is out in response. No surprises there to see this Genji ult pretty much entirely nullified.
Yeah, Dallas ends up using both support ultimates there, so that's probably, best case scenario for the Philadelphia Fusion. You'll have a nano boost for Philadelphia in the next fight. You don't have anything to defend this Rascal Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade here at the second point of the map, though, Mitch, you can spread out so far. We rarely see like those big Dragon Blades unless it's forced action on the point.
And again, sometimes it's worth players just using Dragon Blade to force a Transcendence. If you can force a Transcendence without using an ultimate, that's even better. Nano Boost now being used on a Fraggy, and Rascal's another Dragon Blade. EQO is down. Neptuno looking pretty rough. Both those players, 6v4 situation to play into now for the Dallas Fuel. But look at this, the Philadelphia Fusion start to reverse that one. Boombox actually gets the 1v1 on Chance across the map. But the Dallas Fuel once again are set up on the point. They're good at doing this match so far in this map. Getting set up and ready to fight.
Yeah, and they get Fraggy before he has an opportunity to use Primal Rage, but EQO goes right through Custa. The only support left here by the point for the Dallas Fuel. Philadelphia will hold on. Mickey gets team-megged here. He's going to have to make his journey all the way. Yep. Oh, they're going to finish him before he can jump off the side. So
Taking the mini diva to Isengard.
You'll have Rascal make a change, so he'll go over to 76. So going to play a little bit for that high ground control now. Does the Dallas Fuel, and I did like, I would like to see them try the Genji a little bit out more. It's a hero they haven't really, in the history of the Dallas Fuel, formerly Team NBS, they haven't really had somebody where they can play around that Genji, right? When Seagull's on the roster a lot of the time, we saw him, play a lot of Pharah. So you see EQO go in there, use the blade. It's a pretty straightforward fight there for Philadelphia. Blade against nothing in that small corridor, you're going to win it.
And the Fusion should know at this stage, seeing a Soldier 76 now on the roster for the Dallas Fuel, that there's probably just one approach that you should expect. Using that 76 on that platform there to the right of Poco, get him set up and safe and allow him to use a tactical visor from long range. So they kind of know the Fuel are going to have to push from this top entrance.
Yeah, but do you just kind of like play into what Philadelphia wants you to do at this point? Like they want you to group up top and they want you to dive on in.
Well, that's the
For that
question.
high
You,
ground, yeah.
you sit back, I mean, you set up here with Neptuno. See that bio grenade that was thrown in, follow it up with that Winston. Something the Seoul Dynasty do really well, actually, when they use an Ana and Winston combination. Fraggy.
This is smart. He's just, I think he's standing here to force Mickey to go all the way. Yeah.
Body blocking him. That's pretty rough.
Because now once you move off Genji here for the Dallas Fuel, Philadelphia knows exactly what you're trying to do. So it makes their defense really stable. It makes kind of what Dallas Fuel is doing a little bit easier to read. But I would have loved to see them just try the Genji a little bit more. I mean, they had a ton of time, right?
It's less telegraphed as well.
Yeah.
You can also just throw that dive in. You can pick different locations to dive depending on where the supports are set up. Again, trying to do it against an Ana can be hard because she's sitting in the back corner. Both support ultimates are up for the Philadelphia Fusion right now. There's a little bit of a scuffle happening on the upper levels here, but that 1v1 we saw between Effect and Stiller was very important in the grand scheme of things. We'll have to see if he can win it out. He might have found his way through the boombox. Elsewhere, EQO gets a nano but decides it's not time for the Blade and that the Fuel have already disengaged using Custer. Yeah. Hoping that Effect could get something done on his own.
With that nano boost, they probably tried to get the Fuel to use one of their support ultimates first. Thinking that that dive is going to come in, or maybe even the Blade as well. But Dallas holds on to both support ultimates, and they get this tactical visor up top.
An important pick. No Nano Blade going to be available for Philadelphia Fusion, but Rascal takes himself down with his own Helix rocket. Tries to get cute at close range with the 76, but it backfires literally. Snillo at least finding chips, and EQO's on that low ground with a Dragon Blade. Not much to use it with. Maybe a Transcendence could follow it up. Mickey, was that self-destruct? No.
And when Rascal falls there as Soldier 76, he's not able to protect either of the supports up top. And both supports at that time sitting up on that high ground, that allows Snillo to get right behind them, takes out both supports instantly.
Very easy to get around the back of attacking teams on this map. And to be able to flank them from also a high ground position is something that the defenders can do, which is something that you don't have as an option on a map like Temple of Anubis, for example. So you will see a lot more of that wrapping around, that flanking. Defensive 76 setting up, on that platform as well. Seen that one a couple of times. Rascal being accosted by Fraggy and a pulse bomb thrown in his way. He knows that Snillo's lurking in the backline somewhere, or at least he was. But still, he needs to turn his face forward and deal with the threat that is present. Neptuno, very careful. Going to be a Transcendence out of Boombox here. They need that nano boost for later on in the fight. EQO has held his Dragon Blade for it. So yeah. Rascal down.
I mean, Rascal goes to use the attack visor there. No support ultimates come out for the Dallas Fuel, so just kind of let him die up in that high ground asset. Dallas, they're probably saving one of these support ultimates for this Dragon Blade that that EQO has. It's just which one? You probably think the Transcendence is saved for the Blade, and then you use that sound barrier to push back onto the point.
Dallas Fuel started this push with about 6 minutes and 40 seconds in tow, and they've lost so much of that now. Just sort of butting their heads against a brick wall, or so it seems, up on that high ground. Again, trying to make something happen. This time the nano boost. Going to be going over towards EQO. It's going to be Fraggy to be the beneficiary here. Damage reduction. That's been very important. Might wrap him the high ground. He can knock these guys off the high ground here if he does go for a primal rage, so keep an eye on that one. Fraggy goes in, he does just that. High ground denied. Now the Dallas Fuel knocked down and need to fight on the point. This is not really where they want to be working around with that Soldier 76, but they don't have a choice. Fraggy takes a heck of a lot of damage going in. He takes a quick breather up on the high ground and it's back into the fray. EQO now to back it up with a Dragon Blade.
He's just looking for anybody, but Dallas doing a nice job avoiding it. Now goes up back towards that point. Snillo will take a few members out as Taimu actually popped that Primal Rage. He got actually slept by Neptuno. Ended up down on that low ground for a little bit as I mentioned, a sleep dart. That'll be Mickey put to sleep again by Neptuno.
Waiting for Prince Charming. Clearly was never coming.
Trying to just body block him off the map. As soon as he gets close, they'll take him out.
Snillo is really emerging as a very dependable tracer in this match. Very solid stats. 6 final blows, 18 aliens, 1 singular death. Very good that Philadelphia can rely on him to sort of be that safe player while still having an impact in these fights, Matt.
You're going to have another attack visor here from Rascal up on that high ground, and you're going to have a pulse bomb, but it's going to be Chips who falls early, so not going to have the benefit of the Discord Orb or the Harmony Orb to heal Taimu on the point, right? Taimu has to jump all the way back, trying to get towards Custa. Taimu falls early.
He went very, very deep, effective to try and get rid of Neptuno, and it worked out. Self-destruct here. Boombox obviously is completely unperturbed, but the rest of his team need to watch out. Dallas Fuel. Hello. 4 members still up in the front. They even used the self-destruct, which theoretically would create space for them to get on the point, and yet they were held at the gate. Stalingrad all over again.
So they're not able to get point B. They did make some nice attempts, right, when they tried to get towards the high ground with Rascal and whatnot. But I feel like they ended up holding onto those support ults for so long, waiting for that Dragon Blade, that they allowed EQO to use one Dragon Blade and then get another one by the time they even saw them come out.
What happened there in that last fight, Matt? Because it seems like there were still quite a few players up, but they couldn't get close enough. Was it the Transcendence boombox?
Chips dies early, right? So what happens is Custa then is forced down from the high ground, and he has to go back towards that middle of the game, which forces Taimu then, when he gets weak, because you don't have the ability of Harmony Orb there, to try and jump all the way back to that high ground. He gets taken out in the progress, so they don't have a main tank to walk through that front door, and Fraggy and Snillo are just there kind of toying with those two, and then Mickey just kind of steps off the point for just a quick second.
And he had to resuit because he was the one that used the self-destruct, ostensibly to try and create space for Dallas to move in. A lot of teams will do that. They'll D.Va ult at the point, so the enemy teams need to spread. Can't maintain that same formation, you can get on there. But again, Boombox wasn't going to be shifted. He was invulnerable at that time. And the Fusion did actually split from the point. They jumped down into that low ground. The Fuel couldn't get there in time. This game really comes down to those split-second situations and decisions. And it also can be a matter of communication when it comes down to those clutch moments.
I thought, outside that one death there at the end, I thought Taimu did a nice job on Winston. Obviously, a hero he's still getting adjusted to. I don't think this is his primary choice and what he would like to play, but
let's be honest. If Tommy could choose, he wouldn't be playing Winston.
Yeah,
straight up.
So we'll see. They'll run effect on Tracer, Rascal, and Genji here on defense, so they're going to get aggressive. I think for the Dallas Fuel, with the situation you're in, I think just try and be aggressive, force that chaos. Let two extremely great mechanically talented players like Rascal and Effect try and take over these games.
It's something that Houston did so well in stage 1, Matt, using their Junkrat, for example, to create chaos. That they thrived in those scenarios. You see Muma, he's always at 110%, always hyper-aware. You want to channel that same aggression. Don't let Philadelphia set up. Philly like to scrap, though, so that's something to bear in mind. EQO loves getting into the thick of things, just as he has been so far. The Philadelphia Fusion now about to push together around the left-hand side of this point. Quickly, EQO watches the flanks in Effect. Will not move any further.
Got scary there for Effect for a little bit. He was pretty low, and I thought for a second he was coming around in that flank, and EQO put some damage on him. Fraggy is kind of standing there towards the front and the middle. I thought for a second they were going to try and just collapse there onto Effect, but it's going to be a Biotic Grenade from Custa, connects with 3 members from the Fuel, but it's going to be a Dragon Blade already, but it's going to be Rascal taken out there by EQO. So you lose your Zenyatta, you lose your Dragon Blade there. It's a tough one for the Fuel.
I mean, Fraggy, Matt, really early on got his hand straight into the cookie jar. He removed Chips at the start of that fight, a fight where he could theoretically have developed a Transcendence over the course of it. Completely reasonable to expect that. That would have been sick if the defenders can actually get those AoE support ultimates. That really adds to their ability to hold. And look how far forward EQO is pushing here. So just forging ahead. Just wants to make sure he might, if he can catch someone from the Dallas Fuel out a little bit too far. A couple of shurikens and then like a dash in and then a dash out after getting a theoretical elimination.
And here's where the Philadelphia Fusion will benefit of 2 sustain ultimates as opposed to Dallas Fuel. They just have Transcendence. The Nano Boost can only kind of reduce the damage of one player. They'll use that Nano Boost at the beginning of this fight on the Taimu, trying to force some players back.
Fraggy doesn't seem to mind too much. Effect had to recall. He had no other choice. He was actually waiting for the Mega Health Pack, but Fraggy wasn't going to leave. Forces out such a key cooldown from the Tracer here, and Effect's going to be annoyed by that. He's had to go back to the back lines for a brief period of time, but well played by Dallas Fuel for inserting a Primal Rage Winston into the back lines of the Fusion while they were trying to advance. Really caught them off kilter.
They back up here, though. Does Philly. Now they're going to use Primal Rage. They're going to use Sound Barrier as well. They're going to engage the point. EQO still with this Dragon Blade, so now you've gotten that Transcendence out. Now the Blade's going to come through.
Charge in. It's going to be one here. Surely Custer goes down there. EQO's looking for his next one. Fraggy's found Chips. Both supports are missing for the Dallas Fuel. Taimu's trying to fight back, but again, he has to take to the sky in order to try and keep himself alive, and his self-preservation instinct was misplaced. And that's it. Almost if you blink and you'll miss it kind of stuff. Philadelphia Fusion get onto that second point. A small overextension there. Early player being picked off. Definitely hurt the Fuel.
Yeah, and EQO just getting great value out of those Dragon Blades. 9 Dragon Blade kills here on Hanamura. Philly played that perfectly. They got the Transcendence out with the Primal Rage. They used their own Sound Barrier. then they let him do the work with that play to put away Hanamura.
2.25 kills per Dragon Blade for EQO. That's a good number, and so is a number 1-0 for the Philadelphia Fusion. Map 2 is just around the corner.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Today on Toyota's Access Granted, I'm picking up Shadowburn from the Philadelphia Fusion, one of the best Genji players in the world. We're going to chat about the new Shanghai Dragons team that they're facing today in their match as they're a redesigned roster looking to get some wins in Stage 2. What would be the one thing you guys would have to do even better than you did in the Stage 1 match against Shanghai to come out on top again?
Comes to synergy, like to actual play as a team.
Yeah.
You know, if you play as a team, you would never be doing simple mistakes.
And there you go, another little snippet of Access Granted, which will be premiering on Monday. So check that one out. Yeah, man, a few words normally, Shadowbird. I hope you managed to tease out some insights from it.
He was really talkative. I know it was really fun driving around with Shadowbird. I got to ask him a lot of like interesting like Genji questions, like tips. Just, I mean, he's so good on that hero, right?
Did you ask him which Love Live character is his favorite?
No.
Should have done that.
I didn't. Just stuck with the game. Li Jing Towers next, no subs. So maybe you see, the Philadelphia Fusion just giving Carpe some games off. Obviously, it's such a long season. I don't think people realize that some of these guys sometimes just need a break, like just a mental break to get out of here, right? I mean, they're practicing so much on their off days. They come in. It's a long day when they play. It's really important to find those. I mean, you see it on pro sports, right? Like, if the Cavs are playing up against you know, maybe it's like a team that's not as good. Like LeBron, he won't play as many minutes. He'll sit on the bench for a little bit. Like, you just got to work that around.
But sit there with his Gatorade and...
Yeah, I mean, so many of these guys, right? It's a long stretch. I mean, 40 games throughout this season. We're just about to hit the halfway point.
Not even halfway. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And yet it feels like it's been so fast, man. Stage 2 is coming close to an end. We're hurtling towards the playoffs next weekend, which is just going to be absolutely fantastic. But again, we talk about the absence of Carpe. We actually got to see a little bit of a head-to-head graphic in the break between Snillo and Effect. And I mean, I think from that it was clear to see that he had been playing well. Like I said, he's looking very dependable, very solid. You know, it's likely that perhaps Snillo's not the kind of player. I do know his temperament isn't the same as Carpe's in terms of Carpe's willingness to not only tactical crouch on everyone, but also to go looking for those head-to-heads. You see Snillo's very cognizant of the position of his team, which kind of works because EQO loves to go in and, you know, get his hands dirty himself. So perhaps having, you know, 2 different playstyles there is a benefit to the Fusion.
Yeah, EQO is a Genji who is just going to go after those final blows. So, you know, we usually see a lot of Genjis, you know, farm up Dragon Blade, and then they kind of, you know, go in once they get it, get an opportunity to. EQO goes right after the kills, man.
What a debut he's had. I mean, seeing EQO come out of relative obscurity, all right, like we were aware of him, but now when he's hit the Overwatch League and he's putting up incredible numbers from day one, it's great to see such a young talent performing.
Mirror compositions on both sides. Something always to keep in the back of your mind. Custa, not really a Lucio player. The guy's a flex support, so they have him on Lucio here. Obviously, you know, he provides some, you know, flexibility, different things they can do with. They can move him to...
Well, that's why he's a flex support as well, man.
Yeah, they can move him to Zen. They can, you know, put him on. They can do many things. EQO barely gets out with his life.
Look at him just smirking, saying, "Yeah, you mere mortals thought you could take me. I don't think so." All planned, boys.
And both supports are kind of left by the point there. And it's just Poco, Snillo, and then EQO. As soon as he gets the call out, jumps right back over the wall. Snillo opens things up with 4 final blows in the first fight.
He killed 66% of Dallas Fuel in that round. Or at least he took responsibility for their elimination. So the Fusion looking pretty comfortable right now. We spent a bit of time on board with EQO there, and obviously, and look, Custa, in all fairness, has been playing a fair bit of Lucio recently. You know, especially in between the stage break. Chips, though, this is why you put the man on Zen. Boombox and EQO are picked off in the periphery, and now the Fuel can come forward. Snillo's probably hoping to ruin the party with a cheeky pulse pump, but you saw that flurry of orbs come out the window or the doorway just as Snillo was approaching, so it's clear to see that Dallas are expecting someone to wrap back in. Good stick! Chips is down, it's just a 1 kill though, it might take a bit more than that, but if the Fusion can keep applying pressure, they can make something of that pick.
Yeah, I don't think they expected Snillo to just kind of come in there on his own. They have both supports on the point. It's going to be Rascal in effect. That duo that I know everybody's been wanting to see on that Genji and Tracer, they come up with a kill apiece. That'll stop any type of push there for the Fusion.
What a dream combo, those two, right? Talked about it for so long.
It's like if you were to come into the Overwatch League, you talk about like fantasy combinations of players you can put together. Like Rascal and Effect would definitely have been one of them.
Again, and it will take some time for their styles to sort of mesh and coalesce with each other, but it's good to see them on show anyway. Dragon Blade, EQO sees it coming a mile off and actually manages to avoid it for the most part. Rascal gets very little done there. A lot of support ultimates being drawn out. The Transcendence from Chips. Custa used the sound barrier, so did Neptuno. But as the smoke clears and all the overshields dissipate, it's the Philadelphia Fusion who stand tall. Everyone dug in with support ultimates in that fight.
Chips was back by the point and just waited a split second too long to pop the Transcendence. Taimu and Rascal go down as they're trying to get back towards him. And then at that time you just have, you know, obviously Chips who's using Transcendence, Custa and Mickey getting the effects of it, so.
Still low.
Well, even Big too, we didn't really see the EQO didn't use the Blade there, so now you have Blade versus no support ults.
The pulse bomb is still low, but he's loving just chunking Rascal down. He knows he can't deflect forever. He's got to get run down. Snillo, great job for him just to be persistent and harassing. Rascal was a little bit out of position and caught by that. And now EQO sees Chips on the low ground. Again, just harassment, just poke damage, keeping the Fuel honest, and also forcing them to stay close to their supports. Stay up in their death ball so they can be susceptible to something like, I don't know, Matt, that's still like Pulse Bomb perhaps. Transcendence in play here for Boombox, and it's time to start swinging. Still, he can't join his friends up on the high ground, but that was purely just so Rascal could be removed from the fight. See, Taimu had already used Primal Rage, and it doesn't look like he got much with that one. The Fusion swooped back onto the point.
Well, Taimu did force out that Transcendence with the Primal Rage. The issue is well, if Dallas starts to go towards the point, Philly doesn't care about it at all. They just finish the players right next to them, which is Rascal and one other, and then they work their way back towards that point. EQO still with this play and holding on to it for it seems like forever, 98% and counting, as Dallas never makes it back to the point. Taimu trying to jump over the top. Oh. It was Mickey that was trying to get there, but he gets demacked. So not able to get a touch to force overtime.
Rough, another rough one for Dallas Fuel. Snillo with an excellent tracer round. 7 final blows, 1 death. EQO, 3 final blows and 1. Whereas for the DPSs on the side of the Dallas Fuels, a bit of a rougher story. Only 3 final blows between both Effect and Rascal. So the Rascal got, cornered out a couple times. I think, watching Snillo just harass him down with little bursts from the pulse pistols definitely was a good metaphor for how this game has been for Rascal right now. He's just not been in a position to be able to wreak havoc the way he'd like.
I also think that's just a product of learning how to play around a Genji player and kind of really be there to support a player like Rascal. It's much different.
They haven't played with a Genji.
Yeah, it's much different. Well, they did have Seagull, who is a very good Genji.
How much of that did we see in the
Well, they played him a lot on Pharah most of the time as
Junkrat as well. Good point there
on Junkrat here.
EQO, there was an early hook on Rascal who came out of the gates with a Doomfist. We're too busy talking about the last round. So it is essentially going to be what would be a triple tank, except that Rascal isn't sort of playing D.Va, right? So you have a 2-2-2, essentially. A lot of damage here available, a lot of instant elimination potential. But EQO has that hook, which is definitely going to be threatening. You can find his targets in the dark map. It's called EQO location. Let's see if you can find him.
I mean, Rascal can kind of turn into a tank, right? If Doomfist, you start landing those abilities and combos, you start building up that shield, you can get a large
Boombox
HP pool. But yeah, Boombox just going.
There's like 4 kills in that fight.
Crazy there on Moira. As Moira always has a pretty high kill contribution because of the orbs, right?
But he's out there giving him the big slurp, Matt. He's getting the final blows.
I always find that funny when you have Moira players I go on the left. It's well, you do throw those orbs in there and it doesn't like everybody.
Custer sitting in the background, jelly as heck.
Oh yeah.
Loves his Moira, he does. But no, he's the main support in this permutation of the Dallas Fuel roster. But now the Philadelphia Fusion holding very far forward. You see Fraggy, he's going to keep that shield up, and Dallas Fuel aren't going to be able to get in. Look how much damage you're going to take. Coalescence cutting through, which means there's no point even in Taimu holding up the Reinhardt shield, because it's not going to stop that Coalescence damage from cutting through. And now this is starting to get a little bit out of hand, Matt. I don't know what to say to you guys. This is not looking close. Come on,
Slash and spawn camp here, as that's going to be the Earth Shadow that comes down from Fraggy. They'll take out Rascal. And man, this is not good. But
I mean, and this happens as well when you have that Reinhardt Junkrat combination, because to try and get at this Junkrat at all requires you to be able to circumvent the Reinhardt shield. So you play around the choke like this, you use those biotic orbs. Coalescence is back for Boombox here. He's going to get a lot of value out of that if the Fuel have to filter in through a very small aperture just like that. So much explosive potential, spam the chokes out. Custer manages to get rid of the Riptire at least.
And Rascal goes Mei here because you're trying to split off some of these tanks and catch them off guard. Obviously, not the most mobile of heroes, but it's going to be a Coalescence with a Poco self-destruct that goes on through the doorway. As Dallas, they do have this Graviton Surge, just whether they can get in position to use it.
They're getting close.
Fraggy being so aggressive, getting close to another Earth Shatter.
That self-destruct Coalescence for Philadelphia didn't really get much value. You can see that Fraggy's about half HP and Poco's not looking too flash hot either. Nice wall there. Let's see if they can actually use this though. I think they're using it right now just for positioning to get set up on the point. Mickey's knocked off course, but he wants to go on with the Graviton fairly soon. Looking for his target, and there it is. He's going to lay it straight down, making sure Poco couldn't eat it up, and the Dallas Fuel converge around the entirety of the Philadelphia Fusion, who are drawn together. There's gravitational forces, and that will give them the team fight here in the nick of time. At the 11th hour, the Dallas Fuel hang on.
Well, the Fuel can play pretty aggressive now as well, because Rascal has that Blizzard, obviously, and trap a lot of players at the doorway. They just have to be careful, because now you're going to have Snillo with a Riptire, right? Can just open things up. See a switch in tanks here. So Poco will bring out Zarya. We know what Poco can do on Zarya. He's very talented, Zarya. The speed boost getting everybody through the door. It'll be Boombox using Coalescence. Fraggy uses Earth Shadow there as well.
Riptire is going to wrap around the backside. Effect gets a shield. It was the only thing that kept him alive. He also gets the Deadeye on towards Fraggy, and now the Blizzard being put up. Rascal trying to prevent any means of escape, but Poco shields up and walks straight on in. Mickey got smashed there, took a lot of damage in a very brief amount of time, but is able to heal it up. Rascal lining up these shots with the Endothermic Blaster. Took chemistry, it's not exothermic, there's a difference. He's going to chase Fraggy down though as well, try to isolate the Reinhardt. He seems to have done a good job of it here, but Fraggy's been elusive, very slippery for a man in big old armor, and Rascal wasn't able to finish him off.
Yeah, it was a nice barrier that came in from Poco, able to keep him alive. Another Maywall that comes in from Rascal, trying to separate the members of the Philly Fusion. It'll be Chips using a Coalescence as well, just putting down some more damage.
That's big!
Big shatter there by Taimu, but it's going to be Snillo who takes him out, though, as he tries to go in for the follow-up.
That could have been the turnaround, but Snillo gets back up and fights too. Effect wasn't able to pick up Boombox, so the healing is still going to be there. Another attempt at the Graviton Surge and another flubbed one as the Philadelphia Fusion push in. Poco uses his. Now we're in overtime. It's just Taimu. He tries to get on the point, really. Shattered straight away. Fraggy knows. The man knows he doesn't need to save that any longer. And that man on your screen right now, Snillo's having an excellent match so far. 10 final blows for 22 eliminations. Ripping it up on the Junkrat.
You did see Dallas Fuel play much better though once Rascal came in on Mei. We know he can play Mei at a very high level. Just that spawn camp at the beginning from the Philadelphia Fusion, just way too strong.
Well, now we're going to be heading into our halftime break. Dire straits for the Dallas Fuel. They need to bring it back with 2 map wins in a row to stay in this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
The Dallas struggles continue. It's all Philly at the half. They're up 2-0 over the Fuel, especially after some plays like this. Welcome back, everybody. After our first two, it's been Philadelphia, as we mentioned. I'm your host, Puckett, and we've got a fantastic desk for you right now. Not just Brennan Reinforce. We got all three of the roommates in the same place at the same time.
They said it couldn't happen.
This is not how I want
They
to
said
live
it
my
wasn't
life.
possible, yet here we are.
Hopefully the first and last time this has to happen. No, I'm just kidding. Josh, the only reason you're here right now is because you've been living at the Philadelphia house. You've been squatting in their backyard. You're our insider
The
right
true
now.
insider.
What's been going on with this squad? Because it seems like this team is on the up and up.
Yeah, I'm so dedicated to my craft that I will live in a tree house in the back garden of Philadelphia Fusion's place just to eat their free food and know what's going on with the team. Listen, I'm telling you, Puckett, they have had a 100% win record since I have been living in their back garden. I'm expecting Dallas Fuel to give me a ring and like put me in their garbage bins or something.
Tucker, owners of Philadelphia Fusion, I'm the reason Josh is living at your house right now. Send all of the royalties this way. Let's talk about the issues, though, that we're seeing in this series. For Philly, not too many. For Dallas, well, it's a lot that you can see in-game, but also behind the scenes. We got a chance to listen in with some of the comms from Dallas during that first map, and, well, it's not pretty to be playing support today.
I use Vulture.
Chase first.
Yeah.
Monkey.
No, no.
Chase behind. I got him. Me.
Nice.
I need help.
Here.
I try. Oh, somebody call. Hold him back. Fall back, Mickey. Fall back.
Backing.
Reset. We need to work together. Our backline's getting split up super hard.
Stay. Yeah, you have to stay together.
If I call push is go push. Yeah.
All right, we wanted to see some new players, but we knew they were having growing pains. And on the attack, I think that's where it's showing itself the most here for the Dallas Fuel. Custa was calling out, we're split up. Our back line's all split. How do they fix this moving forward, Johnny? They're down 0-2 at the half. What can you do right now as a team during the halftime to turn this around moving forward?
Well, I think this is why we always saw AKM so much in the past. I'm not saying that AKM is the solution necessary, but when you have a soldier to play around, usually your backline sticks more together, and when you play dive, it comes down to Kusta and Chipsai to pretty much play by their own, you know. They need to maneuver and protect the Zenyatta, of course, so they need to maneuver around and protect each other in the backline. Meanwhile, Rascal on the Genji would usually go forward, and with the Genji, and you have a 4-man dive and you have a 2-man in the backline, but it's a bit harder to get together as a team and play it together when you're playing like this.
Let's jump into some of the highlights here from our first game. It was Philadelphia Fusion succeeding on the attack on Hanamura. Dallas having a little bit more struggle as they weren't able to break the defensive holds. But when you look at the victory, what was the most impressive part of Philadelphia Fusion's game?
I gotta say, look at this DPS play, right? Snillo, EQO, these guys turning up where it counts. And I mean, Snillo is a bit of a question mark, right? People don't really know where he's at right now because it's been so long since we've seen him play. We last saw him in Contenders, which was quite some time ago, but here he is once again playing for Philly. He is on that roster, and he can do some damage. He can dish it out. The man really just does not hold back. And when he's alongside such a fantastic Genji like EQO, really just making mincemeat of the opposition.
I mean, these two guys are probably some of the best future prospects in the league, of course.
Yeah.
The question isn't if Snillo is good. The problem is just that he's playing for a spot with Carpe.
Yeah.
So he might not get as much game time as he'd like. But it's a great team for these guys to actually grow in together, both Snillo and EQO, because these two, I mean, they will play in Overwatch League in the future.
And Sideshow, you look at this, Shadowburn, fantastic Genji. You look at Carpe, incredible Tracer. Well, now you got EQO on the Genji. You got Snillo running wild with the Tracer today. Do you sell these players? Do you keep all 4 on the lineup moving forward for Philadelphia? Who do you decide to run?
Well, I don't know if you know how the Fusion actually decide who they run, but what they do, you know, they have that garden out the back. They just wrestle, basically. They get right up in the garden and they wrestle for who wants that main spot. So that's why we haven't seen Shadowburn in a while, because EQO's been at the gym, he's working out, he's looking good, and he's just been slamming
I was going to
Shadowburn.
say, is this why they've been running Poco so much? The dude
Fraggy,
is
I would
jacked.
never mess with
Papa,
Poco and Fraggy.
I got some faith. You can get back in this lineup. Go for the power bomb. All right, let's look at game number 2. Lijiang Tower. After taking Hanamura, we head into control. Once again, it is Philly establishing dominance early behind their Tracer.
Well, this is the map you would expect at least Dallas to compete in some way, because now you're playing the straight-up game. You have Rascal on the Genji, effects on the Tracer, of course, but once again, I mean, they have Taimu on the Winston, and he's not necessarily the best Winston. He's new to this role. Then you have Kusta.
Give him a break, Johnny. He's new.
Then you have Kusta on the Lucio, and he's not known to be the best Lucio. I think this is a team that's trying to find a new identity, and it's not necessarily anyone's fault, you know? Okay, so like, great news. putting in Rascal doesn't solve all of Dallas' problems.
Right.
You know, let's get that out of the way, because that was one thing people harped on. Put in Rascal out with AKM. That's not going to solve all the issues Dallas has. And I think for all the spots, all the players on this team, they need to start working together as a team, but that takes time, and I think that the fans of the Dallas Fuel, they need some patience, because this is not going to change overnight.
Now, that second heat was much closer. When we went to the control center, it was going towards that 199 situation, and we saw a little bit more tank play coming in from the Dallas Fuels. A Reinhardt, the Zarya coming out of Mickey. We saw Rascal on the Doomfist. He so far played Soldier. I remember him playing Genji. We've seen him on Doomfist. Is this a move to keep Rascal in a lineup because he's a bit more flexible than your other options?
Yeah, that's one way to go, right? Because you look at someone like Libero, like someone like Tvik, and they're very solid in their flex DPS role. And then you have, there's not a lot of awful specialists, I like to say, in that role nowadays. You don't have someone consistently playing Soldier or consistently playing Genji. You usually have someone in that role that can play all heroes, Widowmaker, Genji, Soldier, McCree, and Rascal is that type of player. So moving forward, I'd probably like to see Dallas build around Rascal, because he is your type of guy, but maybe there's something about the communication you need to fix. There may be some issues to iron out.
All right, and if you're looking at the Philadelphia Fusion, you're a Dallas player right now. Who's the bigger threat? Is it Snill or EQO?
I feel like you need to... That's an unfair question, to be honest, because you shut down one, the other one's just going to sprout up and absolutely destroy you. Like, that's the way this team plays. That's the way Philadelphia play. Their philosophy when it comes to the DPS game is you shut down one, you know, Carpe gets down, Shadowburn will be bouncing back, EQO goes down, suddenly you got Sniller down your back neck, and he's breathing, and he's had a bit of a nasty piece of fish, so it's a little bit nasty. You know, you're starting to smell it. Doesn't smell very nice.
What are you talking about?
Don't worry about it.
We're going to cut Brent off and talk to Sideshow. Sideshow, I've made you live in a tree this week. You're living up to the bet.
Yeah.
How has it been living in a tree house at the Fusion House?
You know what? It's been surprisingly good, Puckhead. The place is fleshed out. I've got everything kitted out. But I'll give you a tour, because we got a camera crew there to check out the tree house. Let's have a look.
Haha.
Yo, MLG, what's up, what's up? I forgot you guys were coming. You want to see around my pad? You want to see around my pad? Yeah, come on in. Actually, it's this way. It's this way. Come on, follow me, follow me. Come on up, it's a 2-story building. Come and see where the magic happens. Follow me. As you can see, got a beautiful view. Got my pool down there. Actually, Fusion say that I'm not allowed to use the pool or the hot tub, but I got a great view of it. Look at that, doesn't that look beautiful? Come on in, I'll show you where the magic happens. This is the master bedroom. Okay, as you can see, I got my bed down here, the master bed. You know, some people, they like the California Kings. I prefer a sleeping bag on some patio furniture. Obviously got the entertainment system here, the big screen. It's at least like 20 inches. Obviously, Sabio B. Munchkin, personal heroes, always gotta have their reels going. Blizzard Arena, hooking your boy up with the hydration. You gotta stay chill. You gotta give the ladies what they want. They love the water. You gotta keep it warm. Obviously, you need a space heater, the latest in central heating technology. This, of course, is my second balcony. You gotta have 2 balconies in every treehouse. Obviously, second balcony is entertainment balcony. That's why I brought round Bren and Zoe. Gonna give them a little bit of a house tour as well. Come on out, I got my own patio.
Thank you.
This is the dining area. I'll whip you some food up and some drinks, and we'll have a good time on the balcony.
You got a kitchen?
I mean, Fusion have got a kitchen. Yeah,
they let you use it?
They don't. I wouldn't say they let me use it, but you know, sometimes they'll throw scraps, or maybe we can. You know, we might get Uber Eats up here or something. You know, the treehouse is all well and good, but when nature calls, you gotta sneak inside. So follow me. I'll show you the bathroom.
What are you doing here? I already told you, stay outside.
I just want to use the bathroom, Frankie.
Go back into your house.
Yeah, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. See you next time, MLG. Laters, that was my pad.
Wow.
It's pretty pretty sweet, right? It's not bad joint.
He actually lives there.
Yeah.
He's left
He
there.
is living there.
It's not bad. It's not a
This is not a joke. That's genuinely where he's living for the next 4 days. We're not
Los
joking.
Angeles, land of $4,000 apartments, and Sideshow lives in a tree.
I'm living the American dream, Puckett. I got my own little space, my own little piece of land.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us. We'll send you back to your little shack in a tree in the back of a really nice house's yard. That is going to do it for our halftime coverage. One more time, give it up for Sideshow. When we return, we got 2 more games to close out the week. It's Philly and Dallas, Kings Row, when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
The Philadelphia Fusion are up 2-0 on the Dallas Fuel. And I gotta say, the wealth of DPS, or attack rather, players that they have on their roster is amazing. Early on in the season, we got to see a lot of Shadowburn and Carpe, and I thought they synergized pretty well. And now we've been seeing this Snillo EQO duo, and they're just as formidable. So it's gonna be interesting to see how well they do moving forward. But anyways, guys, we got a whole nother half left to go. Can the Dallas Fuel pull off the reverse sweep? Let's find out right now. Send it over to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you very much, Malik. And yes, as the rental prices for tree houses all over the city go up, we can continue to see this strength in numbers from the Philadelphia Fusion. Again, looking very coordinated. We've got a DPS player in Snillo that's not a lone ranger, not nearly as much as perhaps Carpe, and we're seeing him really add now to that death ball or just around those fights. They're playing this dive comp really well.
He doesn't have as large of a hero pool though as Carpe, and then not as, I would say, like explosive, right? Carpe can just make these like unbelievable plays, especially on a map like King's Row. For a second, Snillo wasn't in the lobby. I was like, oh, maybe they bring in Carpe, play some Hanzo here. You know, you can play some Hanzo, Widowmaker, or whatnot. But they're going to run Snillo and EQO again. So they're committed to this lineup here against that Dallas Fuel lineup, which Dallas Fuel has not changed. So I've not seen AKM thus far. I've not seen Harry Hook.
Wax and Wane. The Fuel flame goes. To be honest, Snillo, did play a fair bit of 76 on 1-2-3 before, before Finzi was doing that. And his Hanzo player was Hafikul. So I don't think that, necessarily like he's going to come out with that particular pick. But Snillo can play hit scan, no doubt about it.
I was going to say, and at the same time, obviously he's not been able to play. He was underage just until I think maybe it was only like a week or two ago. Obviously, a ton of time to work on his hero pool. Right? I mean, you go away, or you're kind of...
Could be a different player by now between coming to the Overwatch League and sort of getting out on the field.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, you can't really... There's no really reason to play scrims because you can't play right now. So kind of play ranked, probably just try and play some... if you get into a scrim or not, playing those, obviously.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you do have enough players on this roster.
To do internals,
To have internals, yeah. Not sure if Sato is actually here. Yeah, no, I have seen him. Yeah, so you got Hopar and Dayfly. You've actually got all that mob, so you can do that. We were hanging out at the Fusion place, and Johnny sat down and started playing a bunch of games with Snillo. So we were going to go out and hang out a bit, and go get on the town. But Johnny won't. He stole someone's computer in the Philly mansion. Played Reinhardt. So let's have a look at the compositions here, Matt. Snillo on the Widowmaker is a new look for me personally. Haven't seen a ton of this before from him. EQO with the Roadhog, so definitely a bit more of that tanky composition from the Fusion.
Yeah, triple tank with Widowmaker. You're going to have Boombox play Moira. Obviously a ton of healing for the tanks here, and Neptuno will play Lucio. Just with all those tanks in play, you want to have that Lucio to just kind of speed boost them out as opposed to in. Dallas Fuel will play Dive yet again on offense.
Becton Rascal. The 1-2 punch that, a few months ago would have been the dream. Now, not a nightmare, but it's definitely not exactly a halcyon vision. Fraggy's found Mickey's mech already, so de-suiting him is a very good start. You see the Mickey now, all he can really do is just hope to try and get some damage done. He can still wear the Reinhardt shield away, but it's interesting to see Snillo play on the low ground here with the rest of his team. And, oh dear, one side Mickey, the other side Effect. They're putting pressure on this Widow.
Yeah, well, there's no place, for the Dallas Fuel to hide behind like a shield or whatnot. They're just going to get picked apart by this hook from EQO as Rascal gets on the point, just trying to get some percentage, also trying to build up towards that Dragon Blade. They still don't have Mickey back in mech. He's going to get a mech right now.
Oh, a little bit too late. EQO would have loved to have been half a second early, but they still got the mech blown up pretty much straight away. And this is what we'd like to see from the Philadelphia Fusion. Very proactive, defensive approach, loving the aggression.
As soon as they heard Mickey calling that new mech down, they rushed from the back of the hotel all the way through with a Neptuno speed boost, and they got him with a hook and demeched him instantly again. So a very smart play there from Philadelphia.
I mean, you're playing this dive composition into a Roadhog, into a Moira, into a Lucio who can boot. A Widowmaker that picks you up from long range. Rascal can't even get to the back line! I don't know how many sheep need to jump fences, but he definitely didn't get over that one.
Yeah, Coalescence does a ton of damage to him as he's coming on in. And just finished off rather quickly, so that fight falls apart there for the Dallas Fuel as we're seeing the spawn camp come in yet again.
It's like running headfirst into a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
For Rascal. Poor guy.
Rascal will now play Junkrat here, just trying to burn down some of these large HP tanks.
I feel like this is much better look, much better to go for the Junkrat here.
I think this is where you kind of see, this is where you would want like a Reinhardt player, right? They're just kind of, Rein versus Rein here. And especially against a Roadhog, because look, Mickey gets hooked in again. He gets chunked down to low HP. You have nothing to protect these players as they come in. There'll be a whole hog from EQO. Takes out time move before keeping him up. It'll be a big Earth Shatter from Fraggy, knocking down 2.
And Fraggy, the last son of Valhalla, gets in there. Gets taken down though, as Mickey's able to deal with him. The Earth Shatter was what enabled the Philadelphia Fusion to spring forward after that call. Oh, the Transcender's tied out. Chips, he's inside the bubble. EQO went looking for him. Realized that he couldn't quite get inside the containment zone. So Chips gets a second lease on life.
Yeah, because you have no shield to hide from Snillo on the Widowmaker, and you don't have a shield really to protect you from getting hooked. So remember when the meta was, it's going to be Mickey Villager self-destruct in, but when the meta was really, a lot of Roadhog, you saw the kind of mind game was throwing the hooks around the barriers of Reinhardt. Now you're making it pretty easy for EQO. Doesn't have to worry about that.
Poco got chucked down there as well. Going for a self-destruct. If anything else, just to get back in his mech. That Riptide was headed straight for Snillo, though. The Widowmaker now is down, but the Philadelphia Fusion still have the capacity to fight up close. I think they're going to leave it, though.
They're going to back out.
Only got 5 players. They did still have 5, but they didn't fancy getting staggered any further. Or perhaps, Matt, it's more likely that they want to try and hold the choke again in this second stage.
Yeah, with these large tanks, they don't really want to kind of like smash back out to the point. Because then, let's say it doesn't work, right? And you have to make some comp switches. You're changing potentially 3 or 4 members of your team. So better off getting another real good shot at it. With these tanks, you just want to kind of like take up space in the choke. Rascal plays Pharah. Effects now on still in the back line.
Dallas Fuel's normal approach is a Pharah Junkrat play on this second stage. But they're going to have the effect. Tracer here still. Getting back behind him now. Coalescence being drawn out. Frankie coming forward. Has Orb of Discord on, which is making him very susceptible from this airborne threat that Rascal is. However, the Coalescence backing up the Philadelphia Fusion helped him at the start of the fight, but it might not be keeping him in it much longer. Effect finally springs forth from the shadows in the backside to remove Poco from his mech, and that means it's an easy barrage for Rascal. Gets himself 2. Rascal gets fire struck. Not quite as bad as being thunderstruck, but close. And now Philly have to back up.
It's going to be Dallas, though. They're going to get a res off onto Rascal, so you bring him back into the fight. Taimu will use Primal Rage here, just knocking players all around the map, as you're going to have both support ultimates here for the Dallas Fuel in the next fight. So they're starting to gain some progress here. They're going to start moving the payload very close to taking point B.
Taimu just wanted to show off his crump moves. Just force the Philadelphia Fusion back, make it a little bit harder for them to reinforce this point.
You have a Earthshatter and Whole Hog here for the Fusion if they want to fight this.
Frankie wants to try and catch as many of these Earthshatters as he can, but all sides is pressuring down on him. Removing Taimu is big, though. EQO finds the absolute most important hook. Now at the self-destruct, Frankie turns the shield backside, but Snillo still gets caught out by it. Widowmaker now is down, but Frankie at least has been unleashed for the time being. He now has some space to work with, which is a big deal. Coalescence healing him up. That's the Earthshatter being thrown down. Pulse Bomb, no delivered. No explosion from that one. And EQO now has a Whole Hog to force them even further back. Good signs for the Philadelphia Fusion here.
It was really nice from Philadelphia. As soon as that second support ultimate came back out from... Oh, you see the hooks just keep coming down here from EQO. But as soon as that second support ult comes out, they back up a little bit. Dallas Fuel actually backs up as well. Then Fraggy comes around the corner, hits an Earthshatter. They finish off a few players. So EQO will have a Whole Hog. Snillo switches off of Widowmaker. I was waiting for him to do that. Wasn't really getting much done with it. Now he's going to play some McCree.
EQO had a feeling that Rascal will be coming over the rooftops very briefly. Again, it's easy for Pharah to obscure herself from line of sight. For a lot of this map, you can see that he's just peeking around the corner. He has a barrage, but Poco would be a problem if Rascal wanted to try and get a barrage up close. The Diva most likely would just eat it up and then charge headlong at the Pharah, getting the splash damage back on her. EQO finds chips again. That's not good. They're missing the Zen map. Now Rascal, hoping to get a barrage here, might have to go for it anyway, just see what he can get.
Yeah, you have Effect playing Junkrat, so you were saying, you know, they like to run that Junkrat-Pharah combination. You have Effect make the change over. Don't really see him play Junkrat. Usually in stage 1 when you saw it, it was either Seagull or Taimu. Sanillo will take out Taimu.
Hail Mary,
the barrage. And there it was. Doesn't do anything as Mickey will get demeched.
No,
this looks like the Philadelphia Fusion holding up.
That's it, overtime. Glints away, and the Philadelphia Fusion put up a very impressive hold in front of the Foundry. And there's definitely a feeling that that barrage was more of a wishful Hail Mary than anything else at that stage. Rascal was standing back. It was him and 2 of the Dallas Fuel tanks. That was the only guys that were left. Taimu and Mickey were trying to at least maintain some sort of presence. Rascal was down to about 40 HP.
Yeah, a lot of the times you need like a perfect situation for Barrage to really get much of anything.
You can see Mickey trying to encourage the team. Let's go, he's saying.
He's always the positive voice. It's just...
See, Taimu's not having any of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, I'm sure everybody has played on a team at one point. Like, it just kind of, it becomes difficult to like keep that spirit high, day in and day out. You see on the side of Philadelphia, right? They're all laughs and whatnot. That's why I'm actually extremely impressed with how the Florida Mayhem have kind of handled their struggles thus far. Like, those guys are always in a positive mindset, like never really get anything to them. I do think it's different with Dallas, though, because a lot of people expected Dallas to come in as
the expectation is definitely higher on that team,
without a doubt. And I think no, it's tough, right? Because you want to perform better, but then you know kind of deep down that like it's still not going to be where people expect. And you can't get to where people expect in one day. So it's very difficult, you know, to kind of temper the expectations with, you know, fans, especially as they're working new players into the lineup. So I feel for these guys on the Fuel. They got a lot on their plate.
And they got a lot of work to do as well. It's going to take time. This stuff, I mean, especially at this stage of the season, trying to come up with a miracle fix, and it would have to be at this point. Let's be honest.
It's like the same thing with Shanghai. It's like so much pressure on those guys. Are you going to win 19 games in a day? No, that's not going to happen. Like, just focus on getting one, right? Or just focus on getting some maps. Like, you have to take it like a step at a time. Like, you can't just kind of expect to go out there and make everything up in one day. Effect will play Widowmaker. So I actually like this. I was me and you were talking a little bit about this. You know, maybe seeing Effect, you know, go back onto some of those hit scan heroes like the Widowmaker and the 76 and whatnot. We Snillo on Hanzo here, so you know, getting a look and see what he can do on this hero.
7 European players in the server right now, one of our biggest representations of that. Philadelphia, 5 out of 6 of them, of course, being from that region. The region that I grew up in as well, in Overwatch at least. Snillo, he's trying for it. He saw Carpe do it on the Hanzo, the flank around to deal with the Widowmaker. It doesn't work out this time, Effect's having none of it. However, Chips has traded out. They've lost to Zenyatta again. We're seeing so many Zens getting picked off today. Matt's been one of those days where teams have been very, very good at that dive. Custer definitely sweating as he tried to pass across the path of the hook from EQO. And he and Fraggy can still work together on this one. Dallas are playing quite a far back composition with the Junkrat and the Widowmaker here, so they have to come and contest, and they've lost too many players. Custer now with the Valkyrie over the top. Rascal and Effect are stuck in the windows. They can't do anything about the point. They lack the bodies, the boots on the ground.
And maybe they use the Valkyrie because they think Taimu can get in and you can kind of sneak around and get a res off onto Mickey. Or maybe you just want to make some comp changes coming up after this, but you use that Valkyrie to not able to get any healing. It'll be Effect getting the better of Snillo again. So you see you know, Effect on the Widowmaker. But we know he's a fantastic player just overall, Effect, right? We just see him primarily only play that Tracer, as it'll be another hook that comes in from EQO onto Taimu. Brings him in close, they take him out. A few more kills go in favor of Philadelphia. And this should allow them to move the payload, I know, around the dangerous part of the second stage.
Philadelphia are actually getting, you know, first picked in a lot of these fights. Are actually the first team to suffer a casualty, and despite this, they are often able to sort of overcome that. You know, that fight just now was a good example of that, losing Snillo early and still actually winning the fight. That's a hook. A little bit of a jerk towards the right side to try and pull Taimu further away from his perch, and that barrier's not going to last long. The Transcendence is committed to the fight. Dragon Strike as well. You notice the Dragon Strike does not do enough damage to counteract Transcendence. It's not burst, it's damage over time. Transcendence is healing over time, so no cancellation there.
It'll be Poco using a self-destruct. Gets hit by that Riptire from Rascal. You have Effect switch over to Genji here, just trying to apply some more pressure towards the end of this game, but this is where Rascal can be effective on that Junkrat. Just spamming those chokes. It'll be EQO with yet another hook there, but it's Rascal on the Junkrat, man. 3 kills in this fight, gonna push Philly back.
That's just massive from Rascal. Exactly what the Dallas Fuel needed. A relief valve that had to be triggered. By now, at least they can clean up for the moment here. EQO and Poco won't be around for too much longer. And now Dallas Fuel can consolidate around the combination of the Transcendence and this Riptire.
I'm kind of hyped to see what Neptuno can do playing Zenyatta. Usually we see, you know, Neptuno stick to Mercy, Lucio, maybe a little bit of Ana, but now he's going to switch and rolls with Boombox, who wants to play the Moira here.
I don't think I've ever seen him play that.
Yeah.
Even myself. So I'm kind of hyped for that.
Snillo's back tapping here. Okay.
Yeah, cheeky. Put a little picture-in-picture there for you. Snillo has to abscond. Rascal will set up on this high ground again. He can do so much from here. He did in the last fight with those 3 kills, but he might want to follow up the Winston dive with a Riptire here. Transcendence into the fight, and Effect on the Genji. Again, seeing new shades of Dallas Fuel as they try and come up with an answer here to the Philadelphia Fusion. This is good.
It's not the worst for the Fusion, though. I mean, you use Coalescence to force out Transcendence on the other side. You weren't close to either a Pulse Bomb or a Dragon Blade. You built up some ultimate charge those. Bad part is, you know, this fight's going to be tough with the Riptire. Rascal probably will get one with that Riptire. You know, potentially like a hero like Neptuno, who's a little bit slower, prone to a tire like that. So
Zenyatta's definitely prone to that, sure.
I think it's really the fight after this one that they have the best opportunity to push it to the end.
Taimu and Mickey seem to have isolated Fraggy, actually, and they picked him off. Great start as the payload gets ever closer towards the box of victory. Snillo would love to just ride it home Dallas Fuel are going to be hypersensitive to anyone trying to flank around them. It's a very common flank position here.
Tymo's using Primal Rage right now. He's still knocking players back, and they're actually going to use Transcendence. And he's all the way in that back alley, and now this could be deadly for the Dallas Fuel because EQO is going to have that Dragon Blade. You just have Valkyrie, which that'll save Custo, get him up high in the sky. I was going to say, it's not going to save everybody else. Chips dies already.
You see now the Dallas are tied, tethered to the payload, which actually affects their positioning in this fight, Matt. It's a constraint that they have to operate under. Always having to return to the payload. Mickey gets a resuit. He probably didn't intend to kill anyone with a self-destruct from that height, but he needed a full HP mech to at least have a chance of stalling this out a little bit longer. Frankie's got Primal Rage. I don't think Dallas can even get back to the point now. No, they're way too far away. Chips. Chariots of Fire play slowly in the background as he desperately attempts to get to the payload. And that is a good metaphor for Dallas in this series. They've been striving, they've been pushing. You can see Custer, Mickey, both of them trying to hype the team up. But it's very, very tricky to pull yourself out of a hole when it's this kind of deficit.
Yeah, I thought Rascal definitely made an impact with his junk grab, but Philadelphia just too strong here on Kings Row. And they don't even need to use EQO's Dragon Blade to get it done. To be Philadelphia Fusion taking the series 3-0. Can they close it out with a 4-0? Stay tuned, it's coming up next.
You want the flank? Very high ground. Nice. Can we kill Baby? We need to kill Baby. We are going against Usagi. Careful, guys. Chill a bit. Baby on point. Baby now. Baby, guys. Baby. Wesh it. Nice. Help, poker. You're low. Yeah. Don't let them raise anything. Wait a man. Merci. Deny the rest. I'm Mario, I take back. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm behind. Listen, nice.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
You just gotta keep moving forward.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a quick science lesson for you. Fusion power is much cleaner than coal power. The only byproduct is helium. And for the Dallas Fuel, they definitely don't look nearly as efficient. It's been a clean performance from the Philadelphia squad so far in this series. And I've got to say, whether it's Snillo, whether it's Carpe, whether it's EQO, I mean, these guys have an incredible amount of fantastic DPS players to choose from. Fraggy's been on fire. We've been seeing more of that Reinhardt, which we'd looked forward to. And the Dallas Fuel, you can see it, was written on their faces. Frustration, slightly dejected.
Which is to be expected with the Dallas Fuel. But I think, Philadelphia, it's really been a team that has, come on over the last, month or two. They've been really starting to play better. AKM will come in for the Dallas Fuel for Rascal. So we'll get to see what he can do here on Watchpoint Gibraltar, which will be our final map. But I think it's just a testament to the Philadelphia Fusion as a team, right? They've set these guys up with such a great infrastructure, right? The house is great. You saw from Sideshow's PCs living in the treehouse, but they have a chef on site, right? They just, when you give people the opportunity to really only focus on the game and just kind of take away everything else they have to worry about and whatnot, you can see the performance just get better.
For the Philadelphia Fusion, they do seem single-minded in their approach to the game. That's all they really stress about is, again, let's be honest, outside, affects, the outside world can affect teams like the Fuel. There's a lot of stuff going on in general, right? For them to try and juggle that with their performance, with coming up with changes, with coming up with a response, and then they're going up against a team who has shown that they are very good at punishing you.
Yeah, and I would say also it's very difficult to really make a lot of changes. I think I saw, I think it was Flame who was tweeting about it earlier, or a little bit earlier in stage 2, but when the meta changes and whatnot, you don't have a lot of time to prepare for the next stage, right? We only take that 1 week off. So you have to kind of put everything together quick, and then, you're trying to game plan for certain teams. So it's a lot. These players, you got to put in so much time to get back to kind of where they were in stage 1.
And that's obviously Flame, coach of the Houston Outlaws, whose team really thrived on the patch that we saw in stage 1, and now obviously today being a good example of that, has struggled to sort of find that same dominance. So hearing from him, a lot of teams are struggling to keep up. There's a heck of a lot of things to juggle. Support staff, very, very good to have, whether it's a chef or a psychologist or a memer. I know that the Philadelphia Fusion actually put out a job offering looking for a meme specialist. I guess BZ's their meme specialist in his cosplays. I don't know if that was, I guess they just sort of cool. Loaded that into his current job. I know he's a data analyst or something. He actually has a legit job, but guy meme's out of control. Anyway, Philadelphia Fusion going to be setting on the Ana for Neptuno. So again, getting to more of that flex support. And they're going to be the classic Tracer Genji here set up for them. AKM on the Widowmaker. Looking to punch a couple holes through Philadelphia so Dallas Fuel can advance.
I think you're going to see, obviously, EQO on Genji put a ton of pressure on AKM. Once he gets a little bit closer, it'll be much harder right now. As AKM obviously very far away. Cuss will be playing Mercy. So you want to play Mercy with Widowmaker. Very good tandem there.
Effect encroaching. Trying to hunt down, probably looking for Boombox, but the Omnic Monk in his omniscience spotted Effect coming a mile off. Some orbs ready for it.
And with the Widowmaker, nothing to really close the gap. That's why you see the payload being pushed this far by the Dallas Fuel. This is really, Philadelphia's best opportunity to engage, because if AKM wants to get anything done, he needs to come to them here.
Neither team has any supports in play right now, so this is where it gets interesting. All this damage is going to stick, unless you get health packs, of course. And so far, Philadelphia had more. Far more. Mickey, the pancake. As Frankie descends upon him, chasing him down the stairway. So now, there's a chance for another setup here. Neptuno's playing on the low ground here. You'll notice that he didn't go the long way around. So yeah, it could be a little bit more susceptible, but he'll play in the server room and get as much value out of those biotic grenades as he can in close quarters, either offensively or defensively, or both at once.
Yeah, but he can, obviously deny healing. EQO is so aggressive. How many Genjis take a 1v1 duel there with Effect? It's just kind of crazy.
How many 18-year-old Genjis who just walk in here like, oh, I'm going to take you on?
I think they own the place, right?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, he pretty much styled on him in that case. He actually found Effect in the end, so that's how that great battle went. QO getting the better of the enemy Tracer. And Philadelphia starting to just lean into this setup a little more. So we've got Snillo and EQO playing forward. They have the mobility to return to the rest of their team. The rest of Philly are playing on the high ground behind them. So there's Zen and the Ana. Hard to reach these two. There's 3 lines of defense.
Well, the Dallas Fuel really can't, because they don't have a Genji in play, right? You don't have the Widowmaker anymore, so it's just going to be AKM on 76. Just kind of peppering some shots at range as Taimu trying to get out with his life. Yep, that won't happen as he'll get hunted down there by EQO. Philadelphia looking strong on defense. And this is where I think, we've hit it a few times, during stage 2. And we talked about it during stage 1 a little bit. Like, it's so important that now you have hit scan, traditional hit scan players who can also play that Genji, right? Because right now, if you're Dallas, you would love to have the Genji in play, where you can dive onto these supports who are just sitting up on the high ground. Especially when you have like a combo like Ana Zen, right? Where if you get close to them, there's not a lot of like field potential from either of them.
Oh, everything changed today. The Weak Nation attacked. EQO gets himself an nano boost, and AKM knows even in the healing he's going to get cut down. Gets away, had the Orb of Harmony on him, and he finally finds EQO. Chips was also there. That was actually a bit of an overextension from the Philadelphia Fusion. They didn't even really need to go so aggressive there, but EQO fancied it. There was actually, honestly, there was actually no real reason to engage the fight.
No. The next fight, though, if Philadelphia wants to fight it here, they will have a Transcendence. It looks like Snillo potentially waiting here. Yep, he will get onto the payload. It'll be Valkyrie used here by the Dallas Fuel. AKM just waiting with this tac visor. Now he's going to pop it.
Yeah, he knows that the guys on the high ground are benefiting from that tactical visor, the Transcendence, should I say. A lot of ultimates being drawn for. Snillo leaves AKM a little bit of a present on the ground. Gets taken down by the Pulse Bomb, but Effect had a big impact in that fight. Finds EQO. Big Pulse Bomb prior to that. And now, the Fuel march on.
Yeah, Effect right now counting for 33% of team damage for the Dallas Fuel. Neptuno will get that forward spawn, so we'll have to wait for him to get back up. But now we have a Widowmaker battle with EQO and AKM. All right. Very good spot for AKM. Pull out that Widowmaker yet again.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some acronyms. Let's see how they go head to head. Ackerman Echo. Much easier, guys. Sort it out. Actually, I don't know what AKM stands for. I have to ask him. It's not an acronym for his name, that's for sure. But Dylan trying to be Mr. Big Net, not Mr. Small Net, as his team jokingly refers to him as. And the Philadelphia Fusion just sweep through. Chips the first casualty once again. Custer was very close behind, and Effect got caught out on his own as well. AKM, there's not much to be done here, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting hunted down by Snillo. Also has to worry about EQO as Taimu now is popping Primal Rage. Just trying to cause some chaos here.
Not terrible. Snillo gets picked off eventually. Poco needs to just take some cover. Getting chased here. He can't really effectively protect EQO, and that's AKM across the map. Syllables. So many.
It's a nice use of Primal Rage there by Taimu, just to bring some players back, extend the fight a little bit longer. He will fall at the hands of Poco. It'll be Chips Acosta using Valkyrie and Chips using Transcendence. So you have both support ults that come out for the Dallas Fuel as Neptuno uses that nano boost. Spraggy trying to put some damage down onto AKM at range.
I love me some Nano Diva, Matt. It's always fun. Poco was able to sustain through most of the damage being thrown in his direction, and now a self-destruct over on the point. Very telegraphed, very much just to get the mech back. Unfortunately for him, being the only man on the payload, that was removed from him again very quickly. There will be a reset here. The Philadelphia Fusion, some of them spawned further forward than it would have liked, and the Fuel are trying to exacerbate this. They're trying to chase him down.
So it looks like Philly to be able to stabilize for now. Chips went over to the Sombra, just trying to get back for that last point. Gonna switch right off that and go back to Zenyatta.
Oh, that's nice. Good on you, Taimu. Protecting Mickey in midair with the bubble.
Taimu's Winston plays pretty good on this one as AKM. He will fall in the hands of EQO. We'll get another shot at it, but EQO takes out Chips as well. That's going to allow the rest of Philadelphia to just dive on in.
Oh, Frankie, an overextension. The Philadelphia Fusion are trying to create a lot of space right now so that EQO can get those big shots. But you saw that Frankie was playing on the corner. Oh, this is really happening! He's in spawn, EQO! Give him a break! Unbelievable!
That's just rude.
This guy, no respect. Not even a skerrick of it.
I like how aggressive, though, Philly has played. They're really, forcing Dallas to invest some ultimates here early at the door. It'll be EQO takes out AKM yet again. Smillo comes back, hits Chips with a pulse bomb.
Custer's done. No way he was going to get away with that one. Snillo using a pulse bomb on Chips outside. Now it's getting personal.
Well, now, of course, it's Dallas Fuel to maybe switch the comp up a little bit. Or, when they start getting these ultimates, using them, just to get out of the spawn door? And even if they win that fight, the payload still has such a long way to go. Philadelphia will have a big ult advantage.
EQO knows AKM's there, but he doesn't actually see... Ooh. Doesn't actually see the top of his head there, so a minor miscalculation. Could have gotten EQO killed there. Much as the way this game's been going, he's safe. 9 final blows for EQO for 3 deaths. 14 eliminations, so huge impact on the game so far. Fraggy again overextends. Timing punishes now. 1 for 1, but Neptuno brings Snillo back into the fight. Can you believe this man? EQO playing close range on this Widowmaker. Very satisfying sound of the headshots, and the Philadelphia Fusion don't care if Dallas know that they don't respect them right now.
He gets Taimu extremely weak coming out of the spawn door. So even if Philly loses this fight, Mitch, you think they'll have to use Transcendence? Yep, there's Transcendence and Valkyrie at the same time.
Outside of their spawn. What is this? Mickey now trying to chase down. Oh, EQO doesn't care about that one. He pulls up a little bit short. Chips is on the payload. EQO trying to pick him off. Now the McCree's in the mix here. An attempt from AKM to try and even the odds. But EQO doesn't care. He's more than happy to show his hand, and Chips is going to be pulled up for the payload. Kicking and screaming. Back to spawn. EQO being challenged by Effect here, but that overtime weak. Yep, Effect needs to opt out of this fight just to keep his team in the round. The Dallas Fuel have made hardly any progress outside of that second checkpoint. It's unlikely they'll get any more. Stindo lays down the pulse bomb. Not quite the red carpet Mickey was hoping for. Taimu on the payload here. AKM's going to try and get back in. He can't even get the flash on EQO, but Taimu will keep it stalled out with the primal rage for the time being. Philadelphia playing with their food. It's Alphabet Soup, and they're spelling out, you're done.
And Fraggy's trying to knock players back from the Dallas Fuel back into their spawn, as this is going to be the hardest part for Philly to close it out, right? The spawn players are just trickling in.
This was so close to the payload.
Yeah. Neptuno will somehow get a res off there on the Fraggy, but you're going to res him just to fall back. Yes. We do have the Dallas Fuel making it back onto the payload. You know, they did build up both support ults. Boombox actually switched off the Doomfist there for a second, so resets any progress he had.
Okay, a breath here now. Nice move by Dallas to recover from that situation. They spawned very close to the payload. They knew it too. But we're in overtime now. 1 false move and you're done. EQO finds AKM now. I don't care about Transcendence, Philo says. I'm going to give Custer his just desserts anyway. AKM rolls forward directly into the bullet that would take his life. And EQO is more than happy to disco dance up on the payload here. Just not a care in the world. This is real heavy stuff here. Aggressive Widowmaker play at its very best, and EQO finishes in style. Philadelphia Fusion floating like butterflies. Stinging like them bees.
So, you know, the Dallas Fuel did make good progress. You know, they were able to take point A relatively convincingly. Same all the way through that hangar area of the map. It was just once Philadelphia got set up right outside of their spawn door there, once they took checkpoint B, they were not able to get anything going after that.
And AKM switches to the McCree, realizes that the Philadelphia Fusion are trying to play up very close, especially around that hangar door, hoping to try and turn their aggression against them. You know, use a flash to disable Fraggy, remove him from the picture, then transition further. The problem is that you're opting to play McCree into a Widowmaker, who was always going to beat you at your own game. You're not going to use a flash on her. She's never going to get close enough, and you're an easy target.
Well, maybe you think with how aggressive Snillo and Fraggy are playing that you can just kind of catch one with a flashbang, burn them real quick, and then move on out. The issue is EQO is just hitting so many shots on Widowmaker. I mean, 49% scoped accuracy, 16% crit accuracy. So, you know, landing a decent amount of shots, right? And then at that point, you're kind of in a dilemma. Like, well, what do we do? Because so they would get one. Like we saw a few times, they would actually get Fraggy.
Yep.
But what would happen is they would end up now trying to focus on getting EQO, and Neptuno would just come in and res Fraggy.
He got 4 reses,
yeah,
and he only played Mercy for like the last little bit.
It's
yeah,
tough.
Very, very difficult.
So,
well, yeah.
We've seen Dallas have success with this composition though a little bit, where they play up close, you know, double off tank with Taimu on Roadhog.
Play around the mega health pack
play around
side
mega.
Yeah, that has worked.
But you have to think that Philly has seen this, right? Because I mean, you're watching footage on these teams that you're playing. You have to think
they'll check the room. Yeah, I mean they have the Hanzo, so they might not opt to, you know, Sonic Arrow the same spot as always. No, see there's Sonic Arrow the low left room. They see them. I love that. That's a little adaptation that makes such a big difference. So now the cat's out of the bag. The question is, how do Philly respond?
EQO takes out Effect to start things off. Looks like Neptuno is coming out of the spawn here on the Hanzo. So you're going to have Boombox as that solo support. You're going to have double sniper plus Tracer here. Now Neptuno's going to go back to the spawn and switch to Hanzo. That is such a smart play by Philadelphia. They use that Sonic Arrow, and then Neptuno, obviously, on Hanzo is great at bursting down some of these tank slams.
Scatter Arrow.
Yeah, it's a very nice play.
Beautiful. And it's just such a small tweak to a very common opening strategy on attack on this map.
You can see they've watched Dallas do this before. That'll be an AKM EMP here. Connects with a few players. Connects with 4 of the Philly Fusion, and that'll be 3 kills that come on through. So good use of the EMP.
Yeah. And look, this might be the last stage of the map that Sombra is going to really work for the Dallas Fuel around this area. And even actually now, as it stands, it's not great. You can hack up the Mega Health Pack in the server room and play around it. So you still have the potential to use that. There's obviously a little bit risk because being in that room also means that you'll clump closely together and Snillo can get easy pulse bombs, but it's still fine here. Further down though, it gets a bit dicey, as Semler would put it.
That'll be EQO who uses the Imprecise. Doesn't matter though, AKM able to take him out on Sombra. Gets right up behind him, so AKM starting to heat up here. Like Sombra, it'll be, well, they get a res, and they get timing, so you're trading, oh, that's a big pulse on Nilo. 1 second away from recall.
Yeah, I think he got Neptuno killed there. I think he jumped down into him. It happens. We saw that actually earlier from Moomer as well on this very map. However, despite that, Philadelphia say, okay, well, we'll move the payload around. We've got EQO and Fraggy playing in close quarters. I'm no longer going to be surprised seeing EQO do this anymore. Headshot on Mickey. I believe that was with the SMG, that semi-automatic fire mode on Widow's Kiss. So, Effect fancies to get up close and personal. EQO.
He does not mind playing close range with the Widowmaker.
This is overstimulating. Oh, AKM! He almost went down before he had a chance to use that EMP, Matt. He does get it. EQO unaffected, but again, Widow doesn't really mind too much about that.
And that EMP connects with 3 players. It'll be Neptuno using Valkyrie here, trying to keep Boombox alive. You see Timu's pushing him inside the server room, but should be the Dallas Fuel who will hold on here for the time being.
Okay, I'm going to grapple directly into a Primal Raging Winston, he says. Infrasight activated. He knows AKM. He can see the Sombra at all times. That's so important. The voice line of Widowmaker using that ability should be much more lethal to Dallas Fuel than any other team because that's Sombra. You can't be invisible.
And the res on is Snillo. He's a very difficult target to take out. It'll be Transcendence used as well. As Timu gets the effect of the Nano Boost, he dies on in. This may be Philadelphia just extending that fight. You know, the Mercy res on Snillo allows them to keep this going.
You can see what kind of player Timu wants to be on this Winston. In fact, we saw recently in news that he approached Fisher and said, oh, I'm trying to replicate the way that you play the game on Winston. Can you give me some tips? You know, and he went and had a conversation about this play that he looked up to on the Winston role. You can see who Timu wants to be on this Winston a lot of the time. But again, there's a lot more than just the individual when it comes to Winston dives especially. Yeah. You are enabled by your team.
Right, I mean, I know Fisher obviously has a lot of great teamwork now with Bishu. They have a great dive with Asher and Hydration.
Fantastic support duo.
Yeah. It's just a whole full team effort going on at the Gladiators.
Not to say that's not the case for the Dallas Fuel, but everything's working for the Gladiators and not for these boys right now. Timu down again. EQO and Snillo once again hit that kill feed hard. Custer being removed from the fight. Snillo and EQO get 2 apiece. What more could you ask for from this DPS duo? This new DPS duo to the Philly Fusion.
And you can see, like, it was so funny, you know, during the preseason, everyone was talking about the Philadelphia Fusion roster, and that's an insane headshot, by the way. That is right at the door.
That was a point-blank headshot on effect by EQO. Maybe we'll get the replay of that later.
Yeah, we got to see that.
That's disgusting.
That had to be insane, as he was basically just walking through the door, but I know we talked about this Philadelphia Fusion lineup before Overwatch League even kicked off. You know, hey, maybe they have enough players. You know, everybody kind of predicted them like no, they won't finish in the top half of the league. Like now that we're starting to see this roster, right? You know, you still have like Dayfly on this roster. Today. This roster is stacked.
It just never ends. EQO. Just making life so hard for the Dallas Fuel right now, and he's far from done, Matt. Again, once he can get these guys pushed back, he can set up on the high ground. He knows effect is off on that left side. Frankie found out the hard way, unfortunately for him. And now EQO needs to back up a little bit more. Timu fancy to challenge him out. Good idea for the Winston's low. EQO was looking for the shot, but now the self-destruct may cause problems. No one falls to it on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, and that's it! The Dallas Fuel had players around the point, but the chaos that is created by a team like Philadelphia, relentless, never giving up, always nipping at your heels. Another big win from the boys in Origin, I have to say. Now they'll be happy with that, Matt. They go to 5-3 in the stage, 11-7 in the season, and for the Fuel, it's a bit more of a grim story. Moving to 2-6, struggling to string these wins together, but there's no doubt about it, Matt. The roster they went up against today, the Philadelphia Fusion, really looking coordinated, and they've done their homework.
EQO finishes that map, Mitch. 40 elims, 27 final blows, only 5 deaths, 14k damage, shooting 52% scope, 20% crit accuracy. That's insane. A Widowmaker ult pretty much every minute. The guy is so much fun to watch.
Snillo continues to deliver. Not his debut, but he's still very new to it all. Just stunning stuff in general from the Philadelphia Fusion. They give themselves a shot at those playoffs, Matt, those much coveted final matches. But now it's time to head over the desk to have them break down, which can only be described as an absolute bloodbath.
Thank you so much, Uber. Congrats, Mr. X, on getting through the day, because I know he was looking forward to this match, expected it to be closer. Unfortunately, this one-sided in favor of Philly. We got Bren, we've got Reinforced one more time, and guys, that was probably the most heartbreaking way to lose this series if you're the Dallas Fuel. Not only did you have mistakes throughout the series, but you go out on one, everyone jumping off the cart, and Philly just cruising into your base.
I mean, tell it as it is, right? I mean, they got spawn camped for a while, and it's hard to watch, honestly. Like, I consider my job pretty easy, but it gets hard when you try to explain Dallas Fuel what is going wrong. You know, they have a rough road ahead.
It is. It's heartbreaking.
Let's take it back to Kings Row as we take a look at some of the big moments. We saw EQO on the sniper quite a bit on Gibraltar. I was liking Snillo on the Widowmaker on Kings Row. EQO showing off his Roadhog, a lot of tank play coming in early as we saw the triple tank. What was the difference maker, though? Because both teams had an attack, and today it just seemed like the Dallas Fuel couldn't quite stop this orange squad.
Well, it seemed better, a lot better on Kings Row, I'd like to say, in a way, because it seemed like they had a plan. Rascal often was playing these kind of poke compositions, and they toned it down a bit. And when you tone the tempo down a bit, Taimu doesn't feel as uncomfortable on the Winston. He can play a bit more passive and not do these kind of crazy leaps. But then on Gibraltar, of course, go into EQO's Genji and EQO's Widowmaker, and Taimu is forced to dive so deep all the time, and he's not necessarily accustomed to this kind of play of Widow yet. And then AKM, maybe a bit rusty on the Widow. EQO was absolutely feasting on this Widowmaker.
I mean, Gibraltar was not a fun match really to watch if you're a Dallas Fuel fan, was it? And so many times we were watching this, like, it's so hard to really pinpoint where the issues were, because it literally feels like when you're at this level and you know, the spawn camping is happening or whatever, and you're being sort of outclassed in almost every aspect, it's very hard to pinpoint exactly what is wrong and what is one individual thing to fix, because you can't do it, right?
And that is the thing, you can't pinpoint one player who needs to improve. It's the entire team who needs to come together, and so I don't think that there's anyone to blame. I don't want to see anyone getting blamed for this, because it's a team issue. They need some time to work things out, and just let them sort the things out.
We knew coming in that Philadelphia had more pressure in this match, right? This is the team that is in the playoff run. They need every single map. Today, they get just that against the Dallas Fuel. After the 4-0, it's time to crown our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. We were going with Snillo until game 4, and then EQO stole the show. To be honest, it's so difficult to pick between these two 18-year-olds. Philadelphia Fusion may have the youngest and best young roster in the league right now.
Absolutely, and I mean, you could really make a case for almost anyone on Philadelphia Fusion to be player of the match in this game. Everyone played incredibly well, but EQO really stole the show for me, I think, with his Game 4 sort of performance. The guy was just absolutely unreal on the Widowmaker, and I mean, these statistics, I mean, it should be pretty much proving us right here.
20% of his shots hit heads.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous,
Crazy.
guys.
Like
20%
that kind of accuracy is what Puckett gets on a normal basis, just hitting body shots. So, I mean, that puts it into perspective.
I go into, like, the training warm-up against the robots. I'm hitting around 20% crit. Ridiculous stuff coming in from Philadelphia across the board. They let Sideshow in their backyard. They go 2 wins this week. We get a chance to see them again next week, and they have a lot to work towards. Let's take a look at our Stage 2 standings. Remember, next Sunday is the playoffs. 125 grand up for grabs. Only the top 3 get to play for it.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. I mean, it's again, a race. Anyone can realistically get this 3rd seed now. Seoul Dynasty, Gladiators, Fusion, they're all battling it out, and all these matches next week are going to be
Philadelphia are playing the Gladiators. Huge match with playoff potential.
Absolutely. You take out the Gladiators, you are one step closer. They'll also be cheering on the Outlaws as they'll face off against Seoul. And of course, Saturday, we got the Uprising going up against the Gladiators, our second time seeing them next week. That's going to do it for us here in the venue. We got an awesome signing for everyone who came out to the Blizzard Arena today. For everyone else tuning in online, thanks for watching. Enjoy St. Paddy's Day. It's time for us to go grab a drink. We'll see you later.